Let's hit this. So we're drawing crowds today. That's the plan. Why would you want to draw crowds? Well, figures are really important, but accumulations of figures are also very meaningful. Large crowds are found in a couple different mediums, but today I'm going to be focusing on mostly sort of like cartoon-like ones, partly for speed. And I've got some really cool artists lined up, so we'll take a look at what we've got. All right, leaping right in. A great place to start with any cartoon and with just art in general would be Sempé. Really lovely stuff. I'm going to split this canvas into three roughly equal sections here and devote each one to my crowd, pick like a subsection to try and copy. The cool thing about this is this great feeling of movement that he's got. All of these different faces sort of blend at a certain point. Huge section of this for me will just be at a certain point these people start to like start to emerge. Let's get a rough idea. Throw in some background. Good general pattern here. Sorry, I got distracted. I just doing the art. I'm focusing less on the individual repetitive characters here, as you might be able to tell, and more on just trying to map out generally decent sort of chunks of space for me to occupy with this stuff. If I put in too many characters too early on, first of all, tremendous fatigue. And second of all, you run into consistency issues. All of their signs are beautifully centered. So if any of mine look weird, that's entirely my fault. Just do one a little shorter here. These are also beautifully straight. As a believer in the ruler, I am traditionally not a ruler guy, as you might be able to tell. The reason for that is simple. It's just more work for you. And I like to do less work, but a lot of students disagree with that approach. They like to do more work on their own terms and less work on your terms. It's okay, I understand. A lot of people have that impulse. There's this interesting gap here. Interestingly enough, I don't actually have enough space for this punchline. Each one takes a fair amount of care. I never started that. Only 4 minutes in. Try to do another 5 minutes on this at least. Sempé loves this sort of hat. This little curve. Yeah, I like that. So it's his characteristic face. Not my best Sempé nose, but I'll get like a couple more shots at least. Just trying to get in these different pieces. Sorry, for some reason I find it difficult to chat while doing this particular type of work right now. Also, may just be getting a little tired of talking. A more meditative one, this one, I suppose. Let's check out these independent. I think, yeah, I should probably be drawing. Well, there's a couple different ways to approach this jacket situation. Something like that is pretty solid. This turns into a leg like that, and then of course the second one tucks under there. Sorry, foolish. Just erase that. Incorporate that into a cobblestone or something later. So I'm trying to figure out what the best bang for buck is. Not putting your heads through signs almost universally. I think it's time to start billing. And I think the trick is to go top down. There we go. That seems pretty solid. Coverage is really important in art, and I think this is a pretty great exercise for that at the very least. Plus this looks like a lot, but like, what else are you planning on doing in your art? Not putting stuff there? Gotta not forget my techniques. Yeah, in order to get around bodies and stuff, just sort of jammed faces as close together. Basically as the canvas will allow. Now I'm starting to get somewhere, obviously. A lot of these guys need hats. Some of them need like eyes and noses. Especially when you're doing something new. And it doesn't take that long to develop a decent technique. You just gotta have some confidence to get there. I'm pretty happy with this. These underlying, it's almost like just drawing scales. It's exactly like just drawing scales. And drew classic, yeah. Just one of those little guys into the crowd. and just try and keep going. Keep some sort of relative consistency and level. Keep going. See, I'm coming up to about my time. This is not as detailed as I might hope, but I think I need to commit to doing another one. This time I'm moving on to a Gluyas. I have no idea how that's pronounced, I'm sorry. This is a beautiful image, and it takes place in this hall, which preferably would have straight lines, but that's okay with this beautiful perspective that he's going to absolutely nail, and I'm going to already butchering. Oh. Yeah, that was wrong, wasn't it? That's pretty solid, though. So, from there, what's the general shape of the room? We have doors. If I realign, then the doors would be something like that. I think I should realign. Then really cool trick over here, using all these different doors for scale. How am I gonna capture? So I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna scroll up because I need to see where my actual perspective is in view. And the answer is things got a little silly over in this direction, but it's fixable, I believe. I'm just gonna put a line off that way, and then yeah, we're gonna follow that down there, follow that down there, and then over here we're going to put in our first big close version of that door. Put in a tiny bit of perspective there. I put my perspective in on the wrong side according to this guy, I'm sorry. It didn't look that bad to me, so I'm just going to move on. This one here is interestingly quite... I'm not able to... Quite... Whoa. Shouldn't be committing all the way down because, again, of course, I have to fit a crowd in here. I realigned all those, didn't I? Now, of course, that is that. Which means our new sort of men line should be like there. Let's try that. Another small one. Except this says it should be even closer, so I'll put it there. Extra door, you're welcome. Alright, how am I going to jam this crowd in? So there's a terrorist group, and they're all... Woo, there we go. Some sort of anchoring, and then there's a run up to another little door there. Oh, I'm feeling pretty happy with this. I finally found a fast loop for it. Let's just be more precise, of course, but that's another little door in over there. And then, ooh, that's interesting. I'm gonna toss in some variation like that here, because I think that really helps flesh out the shapes and styles at the top. Though I'm also worried I let those circles get a little too big, but hey. Trying to throw some hats and things in. But overall, see, they're inking like every head here, so in order to match the overall spirit, I'm going to try and hit every one as accurately as I can. I'm doing this as quickly as I can. Of course, I'm only a minute or two. Started learning from the first one. Hopefully, I also started talking again, so that's good. I don't know. It's funny. Sometimes it takes a bit to figure out like how to approach a particular piece. And I understand that, but of course, you'll notice that the right approach is to scratch with the pencil until something starts to happen. Okay, so I can't spend too much time on the back card here. So let's hit him up with that, and that. And then, of course, add a line in the bodies and a line in the room. And then as we come in here, at a certain point they start to get bigger, but probably not that early. So at this point there should be fully like that's pretty good. I kind of like them. Okay, using that as my marker. I don't need a million of them, but I'll start throwing in some basic shapes and faces. Throwing some ice. And then away we go. At this point it really is just like a mass. Gotta keep my curves relatively constant. And of course, as we get closer in here, we need more and more actual features of faces. You know, people start developing hair and eyes and that sort of thing, because obviously they're getting close enough to be actually seen and to have these features distinguished on them. It doesn't have to be much, though. You know, a little bit of hair, some imagery, just reinforces the fact that they're people. I'm pretty happy with how this is going. Look at that. So let's toss in a couple more circles. A few more hats, a few more shoulders. Eyes, of course. And of course, these people are actually recognizable as sort of people in their own right. Ideally, they would have individual characteristics that were distinguishable, but we try. I'm pretty happy with that as the balcony crowd. Ideally, what this would culminate in is, of course, circles of similar size over here. Becoming larger and larger over here. Whereas over here, the transition is much more subtle. But by the time we get down here, it should be relatively constant. I'm going to sort of make the room seem to drop off, I guess, by having the heads do this. But I'm kind of okay with that. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, ideally at the end there would be sort of a shoot through here with like chairs and things. You know, that's pretty good. Let's move into our final piece, practice our final crowd. So this is a piece that I first was introduced to in a book that my grandmother gave me. It's by L.S. Lowry, an English artist. And he really specializes in these sort of, well, bleak crowd scenes. So that's what I'm going to draw. Again, I'm going to try and cut perfect so that it's sort of matching my canvas a bit more. Though I could also, this is about the people, so we got to stay tight to that theme. Tiny bit of activity over here from these little, look like streetcars, ticket booths or something. I don't understand. Probably buses. I doubt streetcars are a thing, and buses definitely are in the UK. Not bad, not bad. Okay. So I got that general sort of shapeage. There's like the hint of a fence that runs this way and opens up for people to get through. So it's split into kind of gauge sections. So I will put the sections in later, and I'll just put all the railings in first. That way I just have a solid little background here for some of this later figure work. And his figures are quite dark, which is kind of nice because it means they can sort of come in after our background. I don't know if that's how he did it, but that's one of the benefits of actually learning some art history is you can develop functional techniques to tackle certain problems in art by learning about the artists who solved them and how they did it. I applied that to pointillism, but I'm not gonna lie, not a whole lot else. So now we actually do have a little trail of people. We get this Lowry style. And again, you might think this is off. What's interesting about him is his body positions, I think. That his use of body position for representing the people in terms of character, I think. But they are pretty flat. It's not just me. No, there's like a railroad here, so I must just be wrong. I just don't understand the perspective very well. Maybe it's not a perspective thing. Now I just have more people to throw in, though first I'm going to commit and throw in these bars. I'll take that. I think that's pretty solid. So now, let's start down here with a big Lowry person and then just keep running with it. Head, hat, hands, dark gutters. And that's Lowry. Just have to do this a million more times. Not stealing his foot position. That's exactly what I should be stealing from. Oh, I combined two women, but they're similar, so not my fault. Some people don't like doing this sort of art, but it's always good to practice something out of your comfort zone once in a while, is the unfortunate reality. Everybody always hears it, and this is true, but it's not easy to do. This I'm certainly finding a bit of a challenge. I'm trying to see the flows in the crowd that he's following and use that so it feels like I'm drawing larger objects than just individual people, because part of the issue is you're just so used to drawing figures as standalone things of detail. It's actually much more interesting as a drawing exercise than I thought it would be. This particular piece of art and the crowd thing I actually do think is important. Challenging, but it's just an interesting way to approach people. Here, he somehow manages to convey the combination of these people. And he's got a couple really solid rules. See, I could do sort of Lowry style art, I think, more easily than I could just straight up copy it. So let's toss in another person there. And I think I might have gotten a little carried away there, but that's okay. Another person. Oh, I'm starting to enjoy it though. It's easier as you go. And there's so many of them, and they've got a lot of different character. I think focusing on individual ones was a bit of a challenge at first, but I'm starting to get that down. Now I got a larger person in the foreground here. It's kind of cool how he manages to convey that. Despite not moving them forwards that much. They got their hands tucked in their pockets. It's pretty good, pretty good. I like that. My favorite so far, I think. What can I say? It's an English thing. Toss in another one over here. And not bad at all. How much more do we need? So I guess if we could extend, I guess if we could extend, oh, I'm starting to enjoy it though. This I'm certainly finding a challenge. Change the color. This is pretty good. Pretty good. I like that. My favorite so far, I think. Toss in another one over here. And not bad at all. How much more do we need? So I guess if we could extend person should have another lady like on his other side. Walking away as ever. I give her hair too, but hey, that's okay. Very similar. Somebody's standing on her face. Sorry to her. But quite useful as a marker of where this next like little run of people kind of begins. Now you sort of like see the flow of Lowry. Interesting. I don't know, I like how some artists really do sort of present as a puzzle when you're actually trying to do the art. It's like, man, how does this person sit down and do this without, falling apart? And of course, see, that's not a bent leg, and basically all of his legs are bent. Fascinatingly enough, there's always that sense of motion. It's really appreciated. Hit another person here. A few more besides. And then ideally, I would get these people way over there like that. So that's pretty cool. 3 different presentations of cards. So, must admit, pretty happy with all that. It's pretty clear how you would continue each of these images. Crowd work is kind of intense, but I'm super happy that I gave that a shot and that you guys were here to witness the attempt. I hope that all recorded well and that you have a fantastic evening.